Yep, you know how to take it from me.
Okay. So can everyone see my screen right now or no?
Yes, sir. I'll
So,
turn my camera off just a
Jason,
Okay.
second.
Yes.
you
How are you doing?
mentioned that there is a. Hello, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing well.
So good. So there is a limitation on Windows 10 device because I'm considering Dell Latitude, which has a mobile broadband card, so they can use both in the field and the office a single device.
Hmm.
Now, what is the limitation of the Windows 10? Do you guys know?
Um, I don't know.
Okay. Can you find out for me? Because that's the direction I'm pushing them, because iPad is cheaper and it's people think it's cooler. But however, I need to have two devices, a desktop and the
Hmm.
iPad.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I mean, I think the biggest limitation is the IG Enforce. I don't believe the IG Enforce is has the capability of having a Windows application. I believe it's only for iOS.
oh,
I think that's the biggest limitation.
got it. So the folks who's using the IG inspector, they need the iOS device.
Well, I think IG Inspect can work on Windows. I don't believe the IG Enforce, which is for code enforcement.
Oh, IG
So,
Enforce. Okay, got it, got it.
mhm, yeah. And so I know you guys both bought both of them. I want to make sure, and I might have got that confused, but I believe it's IG Enforce is not capable with Windows. I believe that one is strictly iOS.
Got it.
Okay,
Got it.
so
Got it.
that helps to know the specifics of which of those apps is supported. So it's IG Enforce is maybe the weak link for us.
Um, but everyone can see my screen, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this is just the basic IVR call flow. So what happens is when you call into the number for the IVR, the integrated voice response, you get a welcome message and you get prompted to asking for your PIN number. The PIN number then can go from there to ask to verify permit information, and then you can put in there's an IVR number for every single permit. And so if I just can quickly go into actually your EnerGov right now and show you exactly what I was talking about. Hold on one second. Let me just move this over here. So as you can see right here where it says the IVR number for permit, once a permit gets created, it gets populated. So I'm just gonna search for a permit right now. I'm gonna search for, I'm gonna look for one that was fees due. I'm just gonna search for that.
Will you do that? Louis, I muted your mic. Sorry, there was a little bit of noise coming through.
So as you can see right here, there's an IVR number that gets populated for this permit. And so when you get asked, you get a response on the IVR saying, hey, please push in the IVR number for the permit you would like to see the status of. You would push in the number of 100615. And so that's how that would work. And from that ability, you'd be able to look up all inspection statuses within that permit, as well as you can request new ones, cancel inspections, cancel inspection dates, and switch to another permit. Now, with this call flow, you can see it goes in multiple different directions. And switching to another permit would just redo the same list of options here. But for example, you can let them, read through the permit statuses again to you, read back all the inspection statuses, and then the ability to check and create and request a new inspection, that comes with having IVR numbers within inspections. And currently there isn't any ones created for Ventura right now. And this is something we can do. And it's just putting in a number. So for example, let me just search for an inspection in here real quickly. So for this final building one, there's an IVR number for each one of these, and we can put an IVR number so each building inspection has their own unique IVR number, and that's how it works. So, for example, you can't have a rough and a final with the same IVR number. You would have to have them all unique. And what we like to do is try to put them in the same category. So, for example, for IVR, if you're going to do all building IVR numbers, you would start at the first one. So, for example, you would start at like maybe rough, or you do concrete or do foundation inspections, and you'd go from there, and you go 300, 301, 302, 304, and you go in order. That way, whenever your last one is maybe 390 at final building, but it allows there to be a unique number to each one of the IVR. And then you could also get that information to whoever, to any people who have issued permits, so they can see all the IV numbers when they call in, and they can request certain ones
Jason,
away
I'm
from their
sorry.
computer.
Can I interrupt you for just a second? Louis, are
Sure.
you okay? Are you connecting all right? I see you coming in on another line.
Yes, I am connected, Kurt.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you were still with us. Thank you.
Yeah. So, Andrew, I will save my questions to the last. I'll let you to finish the workflows.
Okay. But you have the ability to, within the IVR inspections, to cancel other requests, and then during the request, to, let's say, for example, if you were going to request a certain type of inspection, it's all built out on within the system. So we have holidays built into EnerGov. So each year you can change, Christmas is always 12/25, but let's say the city's off on 12/23 and 12/24 and no inspections happen. You can make those days holidays, so no one ever can request an inspection during those timetables as well. You also have the ability with IVR to, change the inspections, as well as with that, when they ask for an inspection, they have the ability, they'll have start time and end times of when they can request, depending on each day. So I know Fridays, every other Friday, people work at the city. I do not know if inspectors work on every other Friday, like other people I've been talking with within the city. So, for example, maybe you could probably set up every other Friday the city can have inspections. Maybe that can also be done. But within the IVR, it just it's pretty much whatever is in CSS. It can do certain things within CSS. There is also the ability to pay your fees on IVR as well through a credit card. That is also another option of things you can do with IVR.
Okay. So
that's about all I have.
Andrew, I have a basic question. I know for the IVR payments, we need to have the payment gateway connected at the back end, correct?
Correct.
And that's something like we have to use our existing payment gateway to connect it. There's an API for that, right? That's separate configuration we have to do.
Correct. I believe majority of it's through OpenEdge is one of the main clients for that.
Got it. Okay, so that's something that you guys have a pre-integrated. That's if we choose to do that OpenEdge, and then we can go into the details of how much they charge per transaction, a whole bunch of other things. Correct.
Mm-hmm. And
okay.
I also want to say that there is also certain things that are set up outside the EnerGov. Let's say, for example, customized greetings and voice responses within IVR. Those can be uploaded with WAV files and certain I guess talking points within the IVR system to be able to talk with and interact. So there's certain setup responses that can be interlaid within the system. It gets kind of complicated with that of getting that all done, but that's all set up outside the EnerGov system. But once those things are in there, it'll still associate with the IVR numbers, which are associated to the permits and the inspections.
So if the city wants to take advantage of the IVR, what needs to be done?
We need to set up IVR numbers for all inspections.
Meaning, okay, so
So-
the number, the like a permit number, there is an IVR number where the customers need to enter that from their receipt, correct?
Correct. That automatically gets populated. The IVR number automatically gets populated to each permit that gets created. But the inspections, since we created the inspections for the configuration, there was no talk about the IVR, how that was going to work with that. So we need to have unique IVR numbers to each one of the inspections, and then talk about, you know, which one. And so, like, let's say, for example, this building final one, I could put in the number of 380 and that IVR number. So when they ask you to request an inspection on the IVR number, they go, please input the IVR number inspection you want. And you punch in that code, and then you schedule that appointment or request that appointment for inspection.
Got it. So when you punch the number, then it knows that that inspection can be scheduled for that particular permit. So it gives you option, what are the days and time, you pick one and then you schedule it. But if
Yes,
you enter
and so-
a number that doesn't have any inspection eligibility, it's not going to give that option.
Correct. And so currently right now, there's not many inspections that have IVR numbers within Ventura's system right now. And it's one of those things of just coming up with a plan and putting each number to each one of them, and then just going into each one of these inspections and typing in the IVR number and saving it. And once it's saved, and I can rebuild the cache within the system, IVR will recognize that IVR number for that inspection as that inspector. Like that inspection will have that IVR number attached to it.
So it's basically, it has to be a manual, or it's automatically generated whenever a permit is submitted?
The IVR numbers for inspections are manually done.
Okay, because that's for the existing permits, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Anything new that's created, we have to still enter manually, or like the system will create automatically like a permit number?
So all new permits will all have IVR numbers. Those will all come in automatically. The inspections, no matter what since I built them out myself personally, you have to create an IVR number for those inspections. The inspections need their own personal one as well, and they have their own unique one. And so, let's say, for example, you have two sets of people who do inspections for just residential housing and just building inspections for commercial. You'd have to come up with two separate IVR numbers, because let's say you're requesting a foundation on a residential house. You have to have your particular IVR number for a residential foundation rather than a commercial foundation. So that way it goes, when that gets scheduled, it gets scheduled to the correct inspectors. There's multiple different tie-ins. So you get tied in with the inspection group as well as the department of who's going to actually be inspecting it within the system.
Okay, so it's going to be, the IVR number for the permit is very different from the IVR number for the inspection. And
Correct.
That's what I'm reading. And then for every inspection, there'll be a new IVR number, or one permit will get an IVR number.
Correct.
Okay. So now here's the broader question. I know you need an IVR number. So because there's multiple ways we do the IVR works, right? I don't need the CTI or any of this expensive component. All I need is an IVR enabled number to be pointing to you. And how does it connect to your system? How does it work?
It connects to the system. It goes to the server, and it goes through a system called, I think it's Voxo. I think it's what it's built in with. And Voxo, it publishes and exposes their system and allows you to connect to it. And so you call that phone number that's connected within the server, and that's how it works.
Okay, so now help me to do this. If
Okay.
I want to enable IVR number and everything, what do I need? Because I don't think I need to buy any specialized components for the IVR, because we are not building an IVR call flow or workflow, anything for the city. So I don't need that expensive components. So
yes. So what we need to do is, I just need to talk to, for example, I might need to sit down with the building staff and the fire staff, as well as grading, if they're going to take in inspections over IVR, and allow them. And then we just need to come up with a plan of going, all right, what's the IVR number is going to be for each one of these inspections. So let me bring up a permit for a building, and I can show you how many inspections we need to have built out with their own unique IVR number. And then once they have their own unique IVR number, those IVR numbers will stay for those inspections. So
Jason,
the inspection number that inspection, let's say it's a final building inspection, that inspection will always have that same IVR number, but the permit number will always be different.
Got it.
And Jason, fire would need to be a part of that as well, right?
Yes, that's what I said. Yes, so fire and building, and then probably public works, and then if any other inspections need, we would also have to create IVR numbers for them. So, for example, all these inspections, so let's say footing, electrical groundwork, these all need their own unique IVR numbers attached to them. So when you call and go, I want to request a footings inspection, you got to punch in that number for it. Since you're not saying footings, you got to put in 305, and then electrical groundwork 310, plumbing groundwork 315.
Got it.
And then when they ask you what day, you put in a day, and they give you the option of AM and PM.
Got it. So they enter the IVR number. Do they also have to enter the permit number?
Yes, you have to put the permit number in first, and so you'll get the option of the inspection statuses.
Got it.
And so within inspection statuses, they'll ask you, do you want to request a new inspection? And
so
you can go yes. That you hit
that's
that,
the part I was missing.
Number.
Got it. Now I see the connection, Andrew. So that's the part I was missing. So it's basically like IVR inspection numbers are tied to the inspection types they're requesting, and they have to enter the permit number, and then it will tell me the options of inspections available for me, and then I need to know those numbers to enter it and go and schedule those. That's pretty much it. Straightforward.
Correct. Yes, and so this is the flow chart. It's kind of a rudimentary, but so for example, when you put in your permit information, it gives you these options: permit status, inspection status, request new inspection. So you punch in any one of these numbers. So let's say we're going to request a new inspection. You punch in 3, and then it says, this is, prompt for an IVR inspection code. You put in your inspection code, and then it prompts you, goes, all right, put in an inspection date. Put an inspection date, boom, and then it goes, all right, that inspection request is saved, and it'll go to the back office, and there'll be an inspection request from the back office for that date, for that inspection.
Got it.
But within IVR, pretty much all these functionality with IVR can be done, I think, even a little bit easier with CSS.
Okay. So Andrew, Jason, the more I hear about the IVR, I'm more inclined to push this as a phase 2. Do you guys recommend that, or do you guys recommend that to go and turn it on along with the phase 1? Because right now we are adding 3 months time to the existing project timeline anyway. We could add it to the phase 1.
Okay.
But I do not know what components need to be. I think most of the components needed are already purchased. Do I need any of the components need to be purchased outside the Taylor components we purchased? Or just the phone number that's pointing to IVR is good enough?
I think the thing out of the box is just asking for new inspections. So out of the box of IVR, not including payments, since if we don't do payments, we don't have to worry about that. If we just do regular permit statuses and request inspections and see what's going on within the permit just by calling, I believe we can do this in phase 1.
Okay.
Without any issues. I mean, potential issues. I mean, it's one of those things we have to check, and we have to look up XML files.
Okay.
Making sure everything is customized that's needed there. So it's just files need to be put into there, just saying, hey, you can get prompted for this, you can get prompted for this, you can get prompted for this, and those are all XML files.
But Jason, when we say phase 1, the actual readiness will be at the end of the CSS e-reviews segment, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Great.
And like I was saying, this is all the same functionality as CSS. So it's just different. So if you're just away from your computer, you're just doing this off your phone. That's all. That's the only difference.
Yeah. So it's basically why my understanding is, Kurt, for you to understand this too. We just need to get a number. So, Andrew, if you want to go and do this without payment processing on the phase 1, What would you suggest next call would be? Like, can I have my telephone, folks?
So, hold on, can you repeat that question again, Louis? I'm sorry.
The question is, if as we are planning to go live with this on the phase 1 along with the CSS without payment processing,
Correct.
what would be the next step you would recommend? You know, like, because we still need to have my telephone guy secure an IVR, which is basically he needs to talk to somebody on your side to understand what exactly needed on the telephone side. That's one.
Okay.
Right. Number 2 is basically you said like you have to sit with these inspectors and talk to them and go through and assign the code. That's number 2, correct? Those are the 2 prominent actions needed to be done, correct? And then rest
Correct.
of them. Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, since we have the software, I believe it's been installed on the server, and I have some emails that say they did that. I just need to go through and test certain things, the capabilities, making sure everything's working with that as well. I was calling a couple minutes ago, and it didn't seem like it was working. Maybe I have the wrong phone number, so I'm going to retry again later on today and get some people and double check on certain things with it. But yes, for IVR, for the most part, we just need to make sure it has certain greetings and certain things on there, and then from there, at that point, it's just making sure the IVR numbers are good for the inspections. And once the IVR numbers are good for the inspections, it's just plugging in the numbers and saving it. And after that point, it's not touching it.
Good. So good. So from the public, I have to call a 1-800 number or 1805 number, one of those numbers to get to the IVR.
Correct.
That number will be provided by my telephone guy, correct?
I believe it was already created by, I think, the company that we used to set it up with.
Oh, okay.
We have the number. I just forwarded you the email with the instructions to access it.
Oh, great.
So yeah, the number has already been created and installed. We just got to double check and make sure everything's working for it.
Got it. All right. So yeah, I would be more inclined than like Kurt and Jason. I'll support this to go live with the end of the CSS phase because this is something that we could do because it's already there, installed and configured, and we just need to do this couple of meetings and make sure like we configure those IVR inspection code. But the payment processing, it's a bigger task. I would defer that later date. I don't want to have payments on through IVR at this point because I did this for Riverside County multiple times, and that's that's a time-consuming one. That needs to be postponed.
No, I would agree. And to be honest with you, I would just take payments on CSS. That's what I would do. Personally.
Okay, good.
Yeah, IVR's payments, doing everything on phone. I think people would be more confident as a citizen if they did everything on CSS.
Got it. Because of the mobile phone proliferation. Got it. Yeah, no, that's why like we may never implement payment processing through IVR. You know, because it's more convenient to pay through my phone online using a mobile phone or computer rather than like reading the IVR. Because IVRs are good for payments just before the mobile phone era, which is before 2009.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, but not anymore because now it's I get it. Yeah, so I think like probably we need to include this in the go live.
All right.
Okay.
So I've gone ahead and recorded that IVR will be included in the CSS e-review go live. Payments will come later. The next steps are to identify the greetings and voice recordings that will be added, and to identify and to work with Fire, BNS, and Public Works to come up with the IVR numbers for inspections. Yeah. And I have recorded this meeting, so we can refer back if we need.
Well, that's now very clear, Andrew and Jason, because like that's very helpful, Andrew, that you explained it very clear. And now I have a clear picture of what this is all about.
And Louis, just to make sure that credit is where credit is due, it's actually Jason Huffenagel that's doing the presentation, not Andrew.
Oh, Jason, I'm sorry, Jason.
Oh, you're fine. It's okay.
Yeah, I hear about your name a lot, Jason. I mean, like Kurt keep talking about you all the time. So And I get confused with Jason,
Kim.
project manager.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah. They're Jason squared.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Andrew is not technical. Why he's saying he can configure? So I was thinking, but I didn't check the name. Sorry about that.
We have 2 Andrews too, so that doesn't help.
I know where the disconnect happened at the beginning of the meeting. I mentioned Andrew's name, and so I think that's what keyed you off to Andrew.
Aha. So now I'll still take the responsibility of screwing up on the name. I should check the list. Thank you, Jason Hefnagel, that explaining that's very detailed and clear. I like the workflow you put together in the Word document. It's very nice. And the confusion
I'm about to send it out just so you can have it as well, Louis. So I'm just doing it.
Thank you. Because the confusion came across is because I used to deploy the IVR because I did it for the Riverside County tax collectors. That's back in like 2003 or 4. And so that the challenge that would be is like we did all those what the third-party company doing for you, like the CTA connection, the pop-ups, customers entering the assessment number, everything, whole enchilada. So when we say IVR, I was like thinking, okay, but that was mainframe the data was in. So we need to pull the data from mainframe. So we use the computer telephony integration. That's a bigger job and huge project in itself. So I just was like thinking, so what IVR we purchased? I don't know, right? So now I understand that we purchased everything. It's a good one. So I don't have to worry about that. Good.
Jason.
Well, I also have this.
Oh, go ahead, please.
Yes. No, I have this other document too. I don't know if you guys would want it. Just an IVR overview. It's just a quick interlay of what I talked about on this call.
Sure.
Oh no, I would love that. Yeah.
I'm creating a folder for this. I'll put it all on our SharePoint site.
All right. Let me send this right over to you. Let me save this and send it over.
Thank you. Jason Kim and Jason Hefnagel, thank you so much. Louis, you and I need to head off to our next meeting at the top of the hour.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jason. I really enjoyed this session. Thank you very much. A lot of information. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.